These are the tools Games Workshop never mentions in their tutorials because they don't sell them. It took me far too long to find out about them, and my painting improved instantly once I started to use them. So in this video, I'm going to save you all that time. I'm going to show you what they are, why they make painting easier, and how to use them. Starting with one that completely changed how I dry brush. But you won't need to go out and buy loads of new stuff. One of them you can make from things you already have in your kitchen. The way Games Workshop teach dry brushing is to load your dry brush with paint. Wipe off all the paint on a paper towel, then rub your brush across the model. This should leave paint only on the edge of the model. This is a quick and easy way to highlight any model. I can remember the first time I saw this. I thought it was magic. As a lazy teenager, it was my favourite technique. As a lazy adult, it's still my favourite technique. The problem is that paper towel absorbs too much moisture from the brush, so you end up with a chalky finish. I used to get this every time and I couldn't figure out why. The fix is here to have some moisture on your dry brush. Just like a normal paintbrush, so you should actually be mildly moist brushing. To keep your brush moist, most people use a dampening sponge. Here's one from Knott's Hobbies. Keep it damp by using the end of a paintbrush to add some water to it. Then I press it in with my thumb. I dab my bristles in the sponge so they're damp like licking a normal paintbrush. Instead of a paper towel, I'm going to use a texture palette. This one's a reject. I use an old brush to take the paint from the pot to the palette. Then with a small dry brush from Knott's Hobbies, I'm going to pick up some paint and rub it across the textured area to remove the paint. Then I started dry brushing like last time, but like a normal paintbrush, because there is more moisture on the brush, the paint leaves the brush easier and smoother than before. The dampening sponge lets me add the right amount of moisture to the brush. Then the texture palette keeps the brush damp, whereas a kitchen towel dries out the brush, producing a chalky finish. The texture palette makes your paint go further because you can go back and add a small amount to your brush each time, instead of rolling your brush to remove all the paint on the paper towel. The other benefit is that the textured surface removes the paint faster than the kitchen towel because it has more raised edges. You can see the difference between the two results here. The paper towel version on the left is chalky, the texture palette version on the right is smoother. It's not a massive difference, but it's consistent, and consistency is what matters when you're painting an army. Now I'm going to use this technique on a Fenrisian wolf. This is a great model to practice dry brush on because of all the detail on the fur. I've primed it with Hyrex Brown from Colour Forge, but it's a warm recess colour that works well on the browns. Click the link in the description for our free painting guides to find out new ways to use dry brushing. To start painting the model, I overbrush the whole model with Morn Flame Brown. Overbrushing it is like a heavy dry brush, but you leave more paint on your brush. So you paint more of the model, it should just leave the recesses showing. This means the primer will be showing, creating a rich brown colour in the deepest recesses. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I overbrushed the lower two thirds of the wolf, including the face and the tail, with Steel Legion Drow. But as I work higher up the model towards the spine, I'm using less pressure and less paint, so I'm just dry brushing the model. This gives the wolf a natural colour gradient quickly and easily without using any difficult techniques. This is where it gets hard to describe because at some point you stop overbrushing and start dry brushing, but there's no clear line between the two. You just gradually reduce how much paint is on the brush and how hard you're pressing. If it feels like you're doing both at the same time, you're probably doing it right. Then I overbrush sandy dust over the lightest parts of the model, starting from the tip of the tail, feet and the face. Don't stress about getting this stage perfect, as animals aren't perfect either. As before, I blended this into the previous colour, creating a smooth transition using less pressure until I was dry brushing. I finished the fur with a Wraith Bone dry brush on the lightest parts of the model, the face, paws and the tip of the tail. This adds a quick highlight to these areas. To add some natural variation to the fur, I dry brush some patches of Wraithbone, as dogs and wolves naturally have patches of different colour fur. The finished fur is a natural gradient from dark brown at the top to almost cream at the paws, face and tail. Each colour blends into the next because of the way that overbrushing and dry brushing overlap. But there's one more tool that will improve your painting that Games Workshop never mention in their tutorials. They never mention it because it will help you save paint, so they will sell less paint. The best bit is you can make it from things you already have in your kitchen. Click the bestsellers link in the description below to buy a dry brushing starter pack so you can try dry brushing too. To make a wet palette, you need 3 things: a Tupperware box, parchment or baking paper, and some kitchen towel. Take the lid off the Tupperware, turn it upside down, then fold some kitchen roll to fit the lid. I soaked the kitchen towel with water, then I smoothed off any excess water from the top of the towel. After that, I cut the baking paper to size, making sure it was smaller than the kitchen towel. As with the towel, I made sure this was saturated, then removed any droplets of water from the paper. Before I paint the wolf's nose, I added colourless black to the palette. As you rub the paint into the palette, it thins the paint as it mixes it with water from the palette. Then I painted the nose black with this paint. After this, I painted the eyes with ice blue. I used Baccarat blue from Games Workshop, followed by painting the teeth with administratum grey. I used cool colours with blue-green toes to paint the areas on the face to contrast with the browns and beiges used on the fur. Once you finish painting, you place the lid back on the palette and save the paint for your next painting session. This is what Games Workshop doesn't want you to do: use less paint. And here's the finished wolf. 3 tools that Games Workshop never mention. I'm happy with how it turned out, and it took me far less time than I expected. The whole model was painted using dry brushing and overbrushing with no advanced technique. Click the video here to see if I can use these techniques on the Space 3. Can I paint the unpaintable chapter?